for Sustainable Stewardship, where she volunteered for the past 7 years and serves currently as board chair, giving kids a chance to explore the Big East Fork Creek, the community garden, meet farm animals, chickens, ducks. It's a fun way to pique their interest in stewardship. Growing up in East Tennessee with the lakes, streams, and the Smoky Mountains wilderness in her backyard was a great starting point. Later moving to Nashville, sailing, biking, and then hiking with BSA Troop 5. Is that Addie's? Rounded out her experiences and desire to share the great outdoors with the next generation. And so she's going to talk to us this morning about her experiences. Please welcome Leanna Broadwell.
Yes, I have been to on those frequently, and I would much prefer to be out in nature, being like, they can't be mom as opposed to be like, documenting all the interventions and stuff. I'm not very good at that. And I don't know if I've looked at very fortunate. I'm really looking for some nature places, but I think it's really fun and let's join our board. But to have some more help. Someone was asking me if this was an organization, it's actually been around for all of the conferences there. So, the beginning of the organization was back in 2008 or so, which is discussions, in 2010, they opened a bank account. I'm sort of doing a little bit of this, investigation now, because I had become about 2017. I came out, met people in the East Valley and heard about sustainable stewardship, and I got to learn yoga studio and started cleaning out the gutters. That was my first contribution to that's been fun, and kind of and now I actually live in the East Valley, and so that's a big part of my so anyway, I'm so glad to be here with y'all, and yeah, I share the feelings about the devastation there, and having grown up, not in the backwoods, I was in the growing up, but I'm very familiar with some of the areas of the weather there. I think we're planning to get actually but quite a few organizations that are starting to get the product. Anyway, so this presentation, I'm getting it, but I have to say most of the slides, my colleague Kimberly Ladd put together the presentation, and she's amazing at that. And unfortunately, she did that in my grade, she's not the only that she deals with. So, but I will try to be retrusted. Anyway. So one thing is just deciding intention. This is a quote that really felt really represented a little bit of our organization. So to think like a river leads to change downstream of time, to imagine a level flow far into the future from our absolute present. To be good ancestors to those who will come after us. Look after the river and the river will come to you. Obviously, in some cases, the river will overpower. Having traveled to Peru to the Amazon, this was happening because every year the flooding of the river is what actually allows them to plant and to live. There's cycles that native people have been aware of for many generations, and we think we can control everything and everybody has to follow this little path, and that's obviously not the case. The nature is the power that we are. Hopefully, when we can also this planet where there runs and the other stages great environment. Anyway, so I was just going to talk briefly about. So one of the first things that made the center is sort of a collaboration of people, including artists. And so this is our symbol, which has 3 leaves. And so that represents stewardship of self, stewardship of the community, and stewardship of the environment. And it was created by this speech I don't know, maybe some of y'all know him. There's some pictures of him in the presentation. basically, we are a watershed protection and conservation organization trying to educate stewards for the future. So we have a 713-acre campus that was donated, which is mostly backwoods in the watershed, sort of valley. The sort of valley is made by Lake Sort Creek, which is essentially South Harbor, which is so. And this is Center Lodge, which is kind of our headquarters. It's a beautiful space for meetings. We have a great room about this size, and we can also host about 13 folks. So we're very, very blessed to have the resources that we have. So our approach is to preserve the watershed, connect people of all ages with nature. So I really enjoy being a pediatrician. I love sharing with children. I have an 88-year-old mother who lives with us, and she is just in love with the valley. And quite a few of her friends, come out and visit and just watch the birds and do activities like the community garden. They like to see how the plants are doing and things like that. So it's been a really wonderful experience for me. I never realized that she grew up on a farm and knew all about baby chickens. I never knew this stuff until really about 7 years ago. I never really about farms. I knew about gardening and I knew generally that environmental that I mean, I never knew about pigs, this stuff. So, and we also have collaborations with Vanderbilt departments to provide support for academic research, educational opportunities. We have ongoing water surveillance projects. The biggest watershed is very unique in terms of how clear the water is, the mollusks we have. It's a very, very healthy kind of controlled watershed to compare to what happens with pollution and spraying and things like that. So, this is our team. So I'm from the chair. Jonathan Oppenheimer is the founder and he's the one who plays the land and conservation easement. And started talking about this organization many years ago. He's also director of land management, and he has started a trail committee, and he's kind of stepping away from actually running the organization. So focus more on the land, but he likes to do is just a lot of trails. That's the thing that they do. Probably all about your mom and my Dr. Ayers is Dr. Ayers, he was the chair of urban planetary sciences, but I think he stepped down from that now, and we're hoping in the 4th time with us having things stored. This is amazing. He wrote a book called Sustainability and Environmental Perspective, which my mom read every word it says. It's just the best thing ever. I sort of skimmed it, and there's some great parts in it that I haven't read everybody does. That's one of my goals. And then the rest of our board, Greg Smith, who's one of Dr. Ayers' students, he is the parent of 2 beautiful children, and his wife is a nurse practitioner, a psychiatric practitioner, and this is a great little family. I'll show you 3 kids. He is a professor, fellow and a teacher at John Livingston, and he brings high school students out to do a project where they can learn about sustainability and environmental. Jason Collins is a local entrepreneur. He actually currently is working with people in Weaver Store, setting up the country away as a that's something. So it's kind of a really busy in life. He toured with the Air Force, and he's done a lot of travel worldwide. And his intention is to protect the environment here because he's seen environmental degradation in China and a lot of the places that he's expansion. So that's that. And then Kimberly, who made the presentation, am I standing too much in the way of the slides?
No, I'm
and she actually ran a nonprofit called Line Code. And about 6 months ago, she's been in kind of a transition, and she became our community engagement coordinator, and she's got lots of skills, and it's just wonderful, and she loves the watershed, hiking in the creeks, and being outside of nature, so I really feel good for her. We also have a secretary, Gina, for sure, and I do not get a picture of her, but she's definitely very instrumental in getting emails done and things like that. And picture. So a lot of other people have been very helpful. So this is kind of the history. So again, 2008, the initial concept was born. 2013 is when Jonathan placed 13 green acres in a integrated conservation easement, which means that the land is preserved in perpetuity. There's very strict rules about building, even cutting trees less than or greater than 4 inches is forbidden. And so this land, in part of the Eastwood Valley is preserved. And it's doubly preserved because 700 of those acres are now in the nonprofit. So this is kind of the initial days of the event. The things where Lakeside Lodge became the home to CSF, and lots of fun things like yoga studio showed up, and lake was stocked with fish, and people like fishing, not when you get that place. This was kind of a very rudimentary sign for Center for Sustainable Stewardship and map. And it kind of shows like the watershed basically starts, this is Linker's Fort down here. And the watershed starts on the side of what's called Parker Ranch, and it runs north, so it goes due north. There's an old lake here that's called Lake Gratitude now, it's Stevens Lake. And we have beavers, and it's actually about 100 foot by about a 10-foot beaver dam, which is a pretty amazing thing. I know we had a guy that works in the stormwater management, and he was just, on the way out to the dam. And we got some really good footage of the beaver that I wasn't able to get into the presentation, that we have somebody with the ground, we got quite a close and personal look at our beavers. So initially when the beavers showed up, there was like, oh, we gotta get rid of these guys, but beavers are very, very important in preserving ecosystems, both the soil and slowing the water down. And unfortunately, in a lot of places, where there's a lot of flooding and things, part of it is because, these old networks have been broken, and now the water is not harmful. So, this is part of the team that organized. So our first official executive director, Betsy Dooley, had run a nonprofit, which is the Advocacy Bureau. So she had a lot of experience in nonprofit management, and she built the team. We had a big creativity fest and started having, the garden was very active in choosing events. We did lots of, meals with our local communities. But unfortunately, she had to go get a field job because she didn't go to college. So she needed a more full-time gig. The funding that the center can offer, and so was mentioning like passion fatigue. So we can offer a retreat center where people can get out in nature, they can create, they can relax. It's an amazing experience to just be in the green, and so in the early morning, it's such a beautiful drive this morning, very misty, and it's just the artists that we collaborated with included Premier, and then some filmmakers, and musicians, a very special part of the organization, really help us. Kids, of course, we have open houses every weekend, and I was inviting patients to bring their families out, and we can chickens, and they have to go out on the farm, and stuff like that. It's not really the farm, it's more of a little sort of meandering, I guess. Although I do so I'm in effect that I can just like to the office. Let's put the cow down here, it's a real star, this is actually in the winter time, we have some frost coming down. And that's some, just like the chicken, petty Rosie, and just, you know, hanging out. That's really my, I mean, that was. I think we have to see this picture. We have quarterly potlucks, and we're having one actually on Tuesday, we're doing a potluck in conjunction with the Birdville community, so, it's gonna be in the house. And everybody's invited, you guys would like to check it out. This weekend is our day that's, in conjunction with local partners. We have, 10 to floors tomorrow, so again, we have little, especially, targeted at kids. Some of our workshops, we've had people doing foraging. We actually found morel mushrooms growing right outside our lodge, which is very exciting. We've had beekeepers. This is actually Braxton, and he's now a soil scientist. And actually, we work with the DeVosh Company, and the Station B has several places in the valley, so that's fun. This is making like a plant preparation, the Korean natural farming method, which is basically all organic. They use a lot of sugar in it, but it's a very interesting way to enrich and build soil. We have classes. This was K&F. This was a bird hide with native colonies. So a lot of birders come to the valley. It's a really, really good birding location because we have a lot of unmowed grasslands, so we have a lot of bugs and birds are happy and we have the water and stuff like that. So it's a very good place to just do that. Projects such as the soil water quality, we have trails, and actually this morning Jonathan is meeting with the state and county to construct potentially a bicycle path that would also serve for different wheelchairs to be able to get out and go to a trail. And the current trails that we have several that are pretty easy, but like the hockey walk. We have lots that are pretty hard. It's a big time hiking, and Jonathan and his two other guys go out and walk and try to do that with like very nature and easy. But my dad said I was pulling out blackberry roots. We had a retreat coming into the house, and I was just sitting these blackberries keep poking us, so I decided to put things out. It's fun. We have a chestnut tree restoration project where we have a few surviving chestnuts. There was a hybridization, and honestly, most of the chestnut trees that are successfully grown are primarily Asian chestnuts. So that we actually live in a cabin that's made of chestnut. That's really real cabin. It's just a grand. So the community garden was in part constructed. We gave a grant to our farm in Downing farm, and he does jam and preparations, and he grows stuff. It's amazing. He's growing all sorts of veggies. He's also got raspberries. He's got lime trees and lemon trees, and he's just been farming for about 12 years. And but then like irrigation system, we had a community garden and not for a long time, but the watering and the weeds and all that stuff usually is good. And this year we actually getting into down. So this is one of our Thomas students. So we had about 5 volunteers that were getting their hours for Tennessee Thomas, and they helped us in the garden and just have fun. So we've also had some collaborations with Edible National. So there's an Edible National together month. And there are a lot of fun. Actually had a blood so far on both of our events, so hopefully it's fun. Yeah, but So we had a group dinner, we had to do all the tables, like how did they bring it in the barn and even the farm because we're going to step up and we did a lot of it up to like. Above the meeting, and it's amazing how that happens. We do activities in some of the parks. So this was was a kids art festival, the July 4th festival, also, and the Sue, who's in this picture with me, is really the mastermind of getting CFS plugged into setting these events, and we meet kids and their families to try to stewards. So there's also a fair amount of the Big Store Valley is a new documentary by Annie Getsy called The Living Land, and that's going to be on PBS, and we're going to have a watch party in the sport, and we'll be the first to look at that. It's a beautiful documentary, beautiful words, spoken word, and music in the background, and it puts kind of goes through the seasons, and some of the stuff is lost, but this is like made for like the last 20, 30 years in pictures. So some of the things are in the home for involved. So we have what we call the circle circle. This is a high point in the valley and up in the ridge. And we worked with the Ojibwe elder. This is Dan Hull, and he is an artist. He builds instruments. He's an amazing, native singing and ceremony leader. And he lives in Tracy City and works with Somali at the Indigenous center that has been recently developed with the funds from there. So he's great. And we've had a number of ceremonies up at the circle. This was actually, he decided we should raise, we had a stone that fell over, and he decided we should raise it without using equipment. So we got that, we got like the circle. Good. And then a week later, another stone fell over, and he said, you know what, just let him do what they want to do. So we stopped. But it was so this is Winston again. Winston the cow. So he was left by a previous farmer, and he's just so sweet that it's like that cow, even though he's like 4,000 pounds. But he does it, he raises. It's pretty low. It's pretty low impact. Chickens. We have Rosie the donkey. It's very popular with kids. Very sweet. We have pigs. This is the potbelly pig eating a squash. This is Greg's beautiful children who are also my patients, and they're playing with the little toy farm animals that we have in the field. So those are some of the things that led to in the future, some of the goals that we have for the next year, one thing that we want to do is continue with our regenerative soil practices. We've added several. We have 3 high tunnels and 3 actual, growing mostly farms. Peanut Valley Farms, which is doing the Kids Sunday tomorrow. They are doing fiber, so she's a fiber artist, and so they have sheep and goats that are producing wool or stuff. And they're also, they took some of my pigs, so I inadvertently also became a big farmer because a friend of mine named Dan Carter gave me 2 pigs, and they started reproducing, and so I ended up with like 12 pigs, and I'm like, so I actually gave the pigs to the Peanut Valley Farms, and they're actually using the computer for us. So they have like electric fencing because we did not keep them out of the farm. So they were like getting out of the fencing and getting to down the farms and that stuff. So we had to like get rid of them. So I could use it to camp farms, and they're using them as clearing. That's initially what Anne thought for the care for the farm. She has golden garden up in the area that she runs to will benefit me. Again, doing projects, we're open to a lot of ideas. We always have lots of ideas, and it's actually the execution of the movie sometimes we help with. So, the mapping of the trails, and again, working with the state and the county trails. We want to start a slow to work down signage, because we do have a lot of people that use the valley. It's sort of a, rapid, like, don't get on the numbers like 5 miles an hour on the roads. And we have lots of deer, lots of wildlife. We see, wildcat babies and little baby raccoons in the lane. I mean, so it's one of those motorcycles. And it has happened actually. We do have a lot of that. Some big are really bad. But that's a big project. We have grounding meditation, one of our local churches comes out and facilitates those. Bird hikes, maybe a viewing party, and we're open every weekend from 10 to Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And we're definitely open for, a workshop and retreat ideas on the website. There's just proposing a retreat. We just finished having a retreat on, it's called the Birding Method, and they utilized space and just a great way, and that's perfectly clean. And that's what I've been experiencing with most of our retreats, is they're better stewards of our space than we are sometimes. This is some of our folks that have benefited. So this girl, I'm sure you guys are aware of, came to Valley to work on her book. She was kind of dealing with it all for a few weeks, and she was so excited. It was so wonderful. She got her artist in residence, and she just loved it. She was such a part of the personality, not around. And then our students also, they benefited and we benefited by that program. And then drink downing, it's been really amazing in terms of soil and knowledge, and it's been a real two-way street with them. My mom had found a patch of grass that was growing in a little pond, and so she took it over to show them that, and their relationship. They actually go fishing together, and it's really sweet. So these are our memberships. So, we have a nature lover, which is kind of like our nature lover membership. And so we also run, Climate runs during the season. And so when people come out to the valley and they want to stay and they want to experience nature, we can say, oh, you can be a nature lover. And that sort of two-grade membership allows them to use the boats on the lake and to use the bicycle and to we give them like a tour and sort of basic about the farm. At a higher level, the steward membership is $30 a month. It's cheaper by the year. And that's what I am. And then regarding the trade and the stuff. The family membership for 7 people is $1,000 a year. It's a great deal. People and really learning the nature a lot. Like our homeschoolers, that went to classes, I encourage one of the parents to get like a family membership, which I was like the quarter class, and the other people get that like $100 classes, and they can come out in that class pretty inexpensively, and lots of resources for homeschool. So these are these contacts, and I really appreciate your time, and thank you very much. I hope you have some questions.
You can leave it open. Oh, you're good. Sure. Yeah, we can put it back. I actually have a question from online. So somebody said, curious if CSS has partnered with local NRCS TDA folks or my Williamson County SWCD counterparts on conservation projects. We've got a lot of resources and technical expertise to offer. I mean, all of the activities your group has undertaken since 2017.
So we have actually executive directors after that, we had sort of a disruption with COVID, and this was pre-COVID. But she was with the Wildlife Resource Agency, and we, learned a lot, and some of our website was done with them, in mind, she wrote some of the website, but that, the county has, a water management specialist who's 2 weeks with classes with us. It's a mess of like we collaborate with the Williamson County Cultural Arts Commission and the Williamson Arts Commission and the different letters. It's like it can be sometimes about which, but you know, we're definitely very interested in any collaborations and any, you know, basically what we really organizations want is to attract people to use the land for non-extractive, constructive educational purposes. So we're, you know, we're open to all collaborations pretty much. So, and I'll definitely look into. I know Jonathan's really more at the county level and technical collaborations with the parks and different people, so he knows more about that.
I was curious about the soil applications. I don't know how much you know about them. I'm sure Drake could tell me, but I mean, I'm familiar with like biodynamic applications for soil, but these are for like the, say the KNF.
Yeah, the natural farming method is basically building the soil with the idea of nourishing the soil to nourish the plants. And so basically there's an interaction between the plant and the soil, where the plant gives the soil nutrition for you know, the mycelia and the living creatures that are in the soil to make it a living thing. And the dam applications, the KNF applications are to nurture the soil. Dam is the sugar-free kind of, it's basically KNF and it's evolved into the sugar-free form, and it has a lot of things like sulfurs and things, you know, there's all sorts of really nasty stuff like fish emulsion and all these things, but they're really, really good for the soil. And again, just supporting the local indigenous microorganisms, basically the fungus. So what you do is you go out with a box to the woods, hopefully in a wet area, and you collect the indigenous microorganisms, the fungal elements, and all this time. You know, protozoans and things, they get into the leaf litter, and then you take that and you add it to the culture, which is fair amount of sugar, at least the root or the plant extracts have sugar in them in their fermentations, and if it's all kind of bruised together, it's hot, you can take its temperature and it actually like pizza, and that's the best mulch ever to live on in plant, but that's what we use. We had it taken out the tree and we had like 4 or 5 piles of it, and he took that and put it in his greenhouse to do it and start growing right away. It didn't hold healthy yet. It really hasn't been good at all. So now the community garden has had biodynamic applications, and it's been in production even longer. He's kind of jealous. He started like working in our community garden style room. He's like, wow, you know, because it's really been effective for a long time. And it's really had that. Plus, we had the pigs there for like a year, having baby pigs, and that made a huge difference too. We had to wait a while, but we could actually go to the community garden back, so we had a little pause. But you know, the applications are able to take, there are land really integrated in different kinds in some areas, lots of cows, lots of Johnson grass, lots of, you know, weeds. I mean, weeds just fill the air and things like that. And these applications strengthen the plants enough that they're able to be resistant. This has been a bad year, I think, for a lot of people because of the initial wetness and the dryness, and there's been a lot of pests. And you know, we definitely lost, like, there's some of the things that we did that just went immediately, you know. But our okras have been great. Our watermelons are doing well. Our tomatoes, they kind of had a rough start, but it's still, you know, we've got plenty of tomatoes. not to sell, but, you know, for profitable community. The basil is great. Here we have this basic crop basil, and it all got how we build you on it, and a lot of cultivating. It's very. Fortunately, I just started taking the little bit of it. So yeah, that's really pretty word, so, you know. It's, yeah, it's a bit of the hay up and I mean, the theory of it is really, really cool. The practice of it has involved a lot of shit. That's the one you get. But it works for, it was sort of created in Korea. They also created the smell creek inside and the smell creek chicken. It's lactobacillus or sort of like yogurt, and so that your animal stuff is digested. Anyway.
Other questions?
Are there learnings that you can take to your medical practice? I would really be interested in medicine focusing on the kind of major therapy that major deficits is what I have to be thinking about. Unfortunately, a lot of questions I was getting HPV and stuff, but a lot of it, this is so much better if you have an hour, the green space and run around this play. And some of it so you have kind of and then obviously eating local, natural, produce we don't have to watch this stuff. We don't really do these sprays or anything, but we just go on and say that. I was very excited to see what it's all I'm all just out there. I love all over, and I do encourage families to have a garden because the experience is more natural, plant-based diet. So in fact, I talked to one of my families because there's a big history of atherosclerosis, like the grandmother decided to months. And so we start talking about fiber, and this is the most motivated example there. So I mean, it's like, really, really, really good. So that is everything. Another patient I get like I do my life. I have and I share with you like I have to take it there, I show people pictures because it's like birthday and things like that. So I try to bring it out to you, yeah, yeah, and we have, actually, my mom has a baby who actually we're outside, we'll take it into the hospital adventure. But they have a place of and there is a place that is really I don't know how we're doing it, but he's doing it. Yeah, the lots of like self. So they have a farm store, but mostly what they do is they sell the produce that they sell, and then they take their potatoes, peppers, and everything they sauces, we sell the aftermarket stuff, and we're working towards this is like market stuff without the whole. It's working towards getting a preliminary edition about certified commercial edition, it's a preliminary edition what you do farm for us, because being a farm, you're allowed to sell. You go out into the residence, and this is my first presentation. So thanks for giving the audience, and I am definitely planning to try to network with like I really been hoping to get into like corporate sponsorship. Mostly because we need expertise that we don't have in the valley. We have about 12 to 15 people that live or in Valley and work on projects that they really much more than they're not. A lot of people join and come out of this contact trails, and maybe they'll make some finds, you know, but we really need to. I was talking to her, that she only did that for like 6 months. And I'm like, really, it's like, we're like all little drops of faith, you know, and it just takes a certain amount before you can actually like get it going. So we're kind of still, you know, headwaters, finding our little creek bed, that hopefully we'll get out and get more involved. I'm just thinking, well, actually, you know, about 12 years. Yeah. So, Drake and Abby are two honors, Mike and Shanae, Kenny's on, which is, he goes to the average, he has the most to maybe that he can watch to it, that was, he's so. He does dinners, that farm table. Steve, Diana, Steve, Jonathan, but then we have, several neighbors that are all around. We have some great people that are here for two people that are angry but she needs to be, she can have it, but she works with that. She's already, she did that. And for some reason, the benefits actually take a lot better than the, but anyway, that's kind of how. And my mom, I she's really about her. And my son Sam, there are Kimberly and the sister and then the Ferndale community, which is around the corner. And they participating. So we sort of that way. Leaper's work, Mason and Werner is he's a real he moved out. The retreat center was a model, which is Martha, and they was in law, and now doing a much different thing. And that's where the farmer was finding the holes to he's office Florida part of our community because of their view. He's gonna have to move from his farm, his even farms, to back to his house and fairly because in that whole Raleigh area, which is kind of plugged in. So, you know, we'll just let it happen. I don't because it's plugged every year. So, but there's always a bunch of stuff. But it's definitely a work in progress. And again, we're trying to get more involved in trying to get more. We have the opportunity actually, master student for about the neighborhood. Who wanted to work with us, but she really wanted to be in Colorado, so she was like, so, you know, there's a lot of tough things like passing through, and, you know, I don't blame her. Colorado's beautiful, so